The alien woman walked slowly into the great hall of the human space station. Her silver eyes scanned the room with silent curiosity. She had visited many stations before, but this one felt different. There was something in the air, something heavy, almost like a secret waiting to be discovered. The hall was filled with human officers and workers. They moved quickly, carrying tools, speaking in short words and checking bright screens. But in one corner of the hall there was something strange. It was not a machine, not a weapon, not even a piece of art. It was only a chair. A simple empty chair standing alone. The chair was made of dark metal, smooth and strong. Above it on the wall there was a sign with bold human letters. The alien woman read the words carefully. "Do not sit here." Her lips parted as she whispered the phrase softly. Her people had always taught her that humans wrote warnings only when something was dangerous or sacred. But why would they protect only a chair? She tilted her head, trying to see if the chair was special. It had no glowing lights, no sharp edges, nothing strange attached. It looked like any other seat in the hall. Yet it stood there alone. No human dared to go near it. No one even looked at it. The more she watched, the more her curiosity grew. The alien woman stepped closer, her boots clicking softly on the metal floor. Her tall figure drew the attention of a human officer standing nearby. He frowned and walked quickly to her side. "You should not stand too close to that seat," he said firmly. His voice was calm but carried a weight of warning. She turned her silver eyes on him and asked in her gentle tone, "Why not? It is only a chair." The human officer shook his head slowly. "It is not only a chair," he replied. His eyes flickered with something between fear and respect. "But what is it?" she pressed. The officer looked at the chair, then back at her. "Finally," he said in a low voice, "it is dangerous." But he did not explain more. The alien woman felt her heart beat faster. Her species believed curiosity was a gift from the stars. To ignore curiosity was to reject wisdom. She could not turn away, not when a mystery stood in front of her. Her mind repeated the words like a song. "Do not sit here," she wondered. What would happen if she did? The hall around her seemed to grow quieter. The humans kept working, but some of them stole quick glances at her. They saw her standing close to the forbidden seat. Their faces showed unease as if they expected something terrible. She raised her hand and slowly traced the air near the chair. It gave off no sound, no light, no vibration. To her alien senses, it was just a chair. But her instincts whispered something else, something hidden, something waiting. She remembered the stories her elders had told. Humans were strange creatures full of secrets and courage. They hid power in the simplest things. What if this chair was one of those hidden powers? What if it was a test? Her curiosity burned brighter. The sign above her head seemed to call out louder with every breath. She looked once more at the officer. His jaw was tight. His hands clenched as if he feared she might take the risk. "Do not even touch it," he warned. But warnings only made her want to know more. The alien woman stepped even closer. She could now see small scratches on the seat. Marks from past use. Someone had sat there before. The thought sent a shiver through her body. Who had dared to sit? What had happened to them? Were they alive or gone or changed into something else? The mystery of the empty seat wrapped around her mind like a trap. Every second she stood there, her curiosity grew heavier. Her thoughts circled one question over and over. What happens if I sit here? She did not move yet. She only stood in front of the chair. Her eyes locked on it. Her breath came slow and deep. The humans around her whispered softly, as if afraid she might take the final step. The officer's eyes stayed fixed on her every move. But she felt her own will rising, stronger than fear, stronger than warning. The alien woman knew this was only the beginning. The empty seat was not just furniture. It was a door, a secret, a test. And her story was about to begin the moment she chose to sit. The alien woman did not step back. Her silver eyes stayed fixed on the empty chair. She felt the energy of the room changing. Humans who had been busy with their work were now slowing down. Some of them whispered quietly, pointing in her direction. Others pretended to ignore her, but their eyes kept drifting back. It was clear that the chair was not just a chair. It was something more, something sacred or dangerous. The officer beside her straightened his posture. His face was tense, his jaw tight. He looked like a man standing before a storm. "You should leave this place," he told her. His voice was steady, but she could hear the warning hidden inside. The alien woman tilted her head slightly, her long dark hair falling across her shoulder. "And why should I leave?" she asked softly. Is a chair enough to frighten a whole station? The officer's eyes flickered toward the sign on the wall. Do not sit here, it said in sharp human letters. He lowered his voice and leaned closer to her ear. That seat is not for the curious. It is for the worthy. The alien woman felt a shiver travel across her spine. His words did not explain the mystery, they only deepened it. Worthy of what? She wondered. What kind of seat tested worth? She studied his face. Humans were skilled at hiding emotions. But she could see a shadow of fear in his eyes. Not fear for himself, but fear for her. The idea intrigued her even more. Why would this officer, who did not know her, care so much if she sat down? It meant that whatever happened to those who touched the chair was not simple. It was something unforgettable. The alien woman asked in a calm voice. Who placed this chair here? Is it a human weapon? The officer shook his head quickly. No, it is not a weapon. Not in the way you think, he paused, his eyes scanning the room to see if others were listening. Then he whispered again. It is a reminder. Her silver eyes narrowed with interest. A reminder of what? The officer hesitated. Finally, he said, of who we are. Those words struck her like a spark. Humans were a young race in the galaxy, yet they always carried an air of mystery, of fire. They spoke of themselves as if they were more than flesh, more than blood, as if they carried something in their spirit that other races did not understand. And now this seat, this forbidden seat, seemed to be the key to that mystery. The alien woman took a small step closer. The officer immediately blocked her path. His arm stretched out in front of her, firm but not hostile. Don't, he said, his tone harder now. You don't know what it will do to you. Her lips curved into the smallest smile. But you know, she said, her voice almost teasing. That is why you fear it. The officer's face darkened. I don't fear it, he said, his voice sharp. I respect it. The difference in his words made her pause. Respect was heavier than fear. Respect was born of experience. It meant the humans had seen what the chair could do. It meant someone had sat there before. She lowered her voice, her tone now serious. Then tell me, she said, what happens if someone sits there? The officer opened his mouth, then closed it again. He shook his head as if fighting a battle inside himself. Finally, he said, that is not for me to answer. Her chest rose with a slow breath. Every time she asked, he gave her half of an answer. Every half answer only pulled her deeper into the mystery. Around them, the station lights flickered slightly. The humans continued their work, but the atmosphere had changed. It felt like everyone in the hall was aware of her question. The air itself felt thicker, heavier. The alien woman touched her own chest, feeling her heart beat stronger. She whispered again, almost to herself, what happens if I sit here? The officer leaned closer, his eyes sharp as blades. If you sit there, he said, his voice low and cold, you will not be the same again. Her breath caught in her throat. The words struck her deeper than any threat. Not destroyed, not killed, not broken, but changed. Transformed into something else. What kind of seat could change a person? The mystery now felt alive, as if the chair itself was listening. The alien woman stepped back just slightly. Not out of fear, but to watch the humans more carefully. She noticed the way they avoided the chair. Not one of them looked at it directly. It was as if they lived beside a ghost every day and had learned to ignore it. But when she had walked toward it, their calm broke. They could not ignore her. It was proof that the seat was not just metal. It was history, memory, and perhaps power. The officer placed his hand firmly on her shoulder. Curiosity is not always a gift, he said. Sometimes it is a curse. She turned her silver eyes toward him again. And sometimes, she replied quietly, curiosity is the only way to truth. Her words hung in the air. Sharp and heavy, the officer's grip slowly loosened. But his gaze stayed locked on her as if to hold her back with only his eyes. The alien woman looked once more at the forbidden chair. It stood silent, waiting, surrounded by whispers and fear, and in her heart, the fire of curiosity burned brighter than ever. She knew she could not walk away. The warning only made her want the answer more. The alien woman stood in silence before the forbidden seat. Her silver eyes glowed faintly under the cold lights of the station. The human officer remained close, his shadow stretched long across the floor. He had given her warnings, he had spoken of danger, but he had given no answers, and now, her mind was caught between two forces, curiosity and fear. Curiosity burned inside her like a flame. It was part of her spirit, part of her people's way. Her kind believed that every question deserved a door, and every door must be opened no matter what lay beyond. To turn away from the unknown was weakness, but fear whispered too. Quiet yet strong. The humans' silence, their watchful eyes, their heavy respect for the seat, it all told her that the danger was real. She let her gaze wander across the room. Some humans pretended not to watch, but their stiff shoulders gave them away. Others peeked nervously, their eyes darting toward her and then away. They knew something she did not. They lived with this mystery every day. Yet none of them dared approach the chair. This made her wonder even more. If humans were known for courage, why did they avoid it? Was the risk too great even for them? Her hand hovered near the dark metal frame. Her fingers tingled as if the air itself carried static. She did not touch it, not yet. But the space between her skin and the chair felt alive. It was as if the chair was breathing, waiting, calling. She pulled her hand back sharply, her heart racing. The fear inside her spoke louder now. What if this seat could kill her, or worse, change her forever? What if curiosity was a trap set by humans to test outsiders? The officer watched her every movement. "Step away," he said, his voice firm but not unkind. "This is not your burden." His words struck her deeply. Burden, not danger. So the chair carried weight, not just power. She turned her eyes on him again. "If it is not mine, then whose is it?" she asked. He hesitated, his lips pressed together. Finally, he answered, "It belongs to those willing to risk themselves." Her curiosity sharpened. Was that not the definition of bravery? To risk, to face the unknown, to choose the door instead of walking away. Her people admired wisdom, but humans admired courage, and this chair seemed to be a crossroad between the two. Still, her fear clawed at her. She thought of her family back on her home world. She thought of her duty as an explorer. If she sat and something went wrong, she might never return. The thought pressed heavy on her chest. She closed her eyes for a moment. Her mind played with both outcomes. One future showed her walking away, safe but empty. The mystery would remain forever unanswered. The other future showed her sitting. Her body might be burned, her mind shattered, or her spirit changed forever. But in that path, there was truth. The truth of humans. The truth of their hidden strength. Her heart told her the second path was the real one. Her fear trembled, but her curiosity smiled. When she opened her eyes, she saw the chair in a new way. It was no longer only an object, it was a question made solid. It was a test waiting for an answer. She stepped closer, her boots echoing softly on the floor. The officer raised his hand again, blocking her path, but this time she did not stop. "Do you not fear curiosity?" she asked him, his jaw clenched. "I fear what happens after curiosity," he replied. Her voice softened. "And yet you humans respect it." He nodded once, slowly. "Yes, because it shows us who we truly are." His words carried weight, heavier than any warning. The alien woman felt her breath catch. The chair was not meant to destroy, but to reveal. Reveal what? She still did not know. But the idea was powerful enough to draw her in even more. She lifted her hand again. This time her palm almost touched the surface of the seat. Her heart pounded so hard she could feel it in her throat. Her fear screamed inside her, telling her to stop. But her curiosity whispered louder. Her people believed that truth was worth any cost. Her lips curved into a faint smile. If this was the human test, then she would meet it. The officer's voice rose sharply. "Don't do it!" he barked. But his shout only made her fingers tremble closer. Every breath in the room seemed to hold still. Every eye turned toward her, waiting for her decision. The weight of silence pressed around her like a cage. She whispered under her breath, "What happens if I sit here?" Fear and curiosity battled inside her. Each heartbeat was a clash of the two forces. Her fear painted images of pain, of death, of being lost forever. Her curiosity painted light, knowledge, respect, power. The two visions spun in her mind until she felt dizzy. She closed her eyes again, taking a long breath. When she opened them, she had already chosen. The answer could not be found in silence, it could only be found in action. The alien woman lowered her hand, not onto the seat yet, but close enough that the humans gasped. The officer's face went pale, his fists clenched. Her fear still trembled inside, but curiosity stood taller, brighter, unshaken, and in that moment, she realized something powerful. Fear would not stop her. Fear would only make the truth more valuable. The forbidden seat waited in silence. The battle inside her had ended, curiosity had won. But the true test was only beginning. The alien woman stood so close to the forbidden chair that she could see her reflection in its dark metal surface. Her silver eyes stared back at her, sharp and questioning. Her hand hovered above the seat, trembling slightly. The air around it felt different, heavy and electric. It was like standing near a storm cloud, waiting for lightning to strike. The human officer's voice cut through the silence. "Don't do this," he warned. His tone carried no anger now, only desperation, but she did not move back. She was drawn closer. As if the chair itself had hooked her curiosity, she whispered softly, "A chair cannot frighten me." Yet even as she said it, her chest tightened because deep down, she knew this was no ordinary chair. Her fingers stretched out slowly. The humans in the room stopped moving. Tools were dropped. Conversations ended. All eyes turned to her. The hum of machines in the background felt quieter. Even the air seemed to wait. She could hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. Closer and closer, her hand moved until finally, her fingertips brushed the surface. A spark of energy shot into her skin. It was not pain, not heat, but something strange and alive. It felt like a pulse, like the chair had a heartbeat of its own. Her breath caught sharply. Her hand jerked back. The humans gasped, some stepping away in fear. The officer stared at her, his eyes wide. "You touched it," he whispered. His voice sounded both shocked and heavy with meaning. The alien woman looked down at her hand, her fingertips tingled. Glowing faintly with a shimmer of light, she flexed her fingers and felt the energy still moving inside. It was not fading, it was spreading. The chair was inside her now. She raised her gaze to the humans around her. Their faces showed disbelief, as if they had just seen something they thought impossible. "Why does it respond?" she asked, her voice calm but curious. The officer shook his head, almost in denial. "It shouldn't," he said quickly. "No alien has ever—" He stopped himself. The alien woman tilted her head. "No alien has ever touched it before?" she asked. His silence was her answer. She turned back to the chair. Its surface glowed faintly where her fingers had made contact. The glow pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. It was as if the seat had recognized her. Her fear rose higher, but so did her curiosity. She felt like the chair was alive. Not a machine, not a weapon, but something else. Something that could sense the will of those who touched it. She placed her hand on the seat again, firmer this time. The energy rushed through her entire arm. Her vision blurred for a moment. Images flashed across her mind, too fast to understand. Shadows of human battles, voices shouting, flames and stars colliding. It felt like she was looking into their history. Her knees weakened, but she did not let go. She wanted more. She needed to know what the humans were hiding. The officer grabbed her wrist, pulling her hand away. "Enough!" he snapped, his voice shaking. But she pulled free, her silver eyes blazing. "No," she said firmly. "This is not danger. This is knowledge." Her words rang across the hall like a challenge. The humans murmured among themselves, uneasy and restless. Some looked afraid, but others looked strangely proud. The chair glowed brighter now. It seemed to react not only to her touch but to her will. The alien woman stepped back slightly, her chest rising and falling fast. She whispered to herself, "What are you?" The officer stepped closer, his expression grave. "You should not have touched it," he said. "Now it will not let you go." His words sent a chill down her spine. The energy inside her hand had not faded. It was still there, humming like a second heartbeat. She clenched her fist, trying to push it away. But the glow answered, stronger, brighter. She realized with sudden clarity, this was only the beginning. The first touch was not the end. It was an invitation. Her mind raced with thoughts. Was this why humans never sat in the chair? Not because they feared it, but because they respected it? Because they knew once someone touched it, the story would change forever. Her lips parted as she spoke in a low whisper. "If one touch can do this, what will happen if I sit?" The officer's eyes hardened. "You don't understand," he said. "That chair is a mirror. It shows who you are inside." She turned her gaze back to the glowing metal. Her heartbeat matched the pulsing light. If it was a mirror, then she wanted to see. She wanted to know what the chair would reveal. Not tomorrow, not later, but now. The humans stepped back, forming a circle around her. They did not try to stop her anymore. Their silence was louder than any warning. It was the silence of witnesses. The alien woman took one final breath. Her hand brushed the seat again, energy rushing into her like fire. She did not fall, she did not flinch. Instead, she smiled because now she understood. The first touch was the door, and she had already stepped through it. The alien woman stood tall before the glowing chair. Her fingertips still buzzed with strange energy. Her heart raced, but her steps were steady. She had touched the seat. She had felt its power. And now she knew there was only one path left. The humans around her formed a circle. They did not speak, but their silence was heavy with meaning. Some looked afraid, some looked curious, some looked proud. It was clear that they all knew what came next. No one could touch the seat and then simply walk away. The human officer stood closest to her. His eyes were hard, his jaw locked tight. "You don't have to do this," he said. But his words sounded weak even to himself, because deep down he knew she had already chosen. She tilted her head slightly, her silver eyes shining. "I have already begun," she whispered. The officer clenched his fists. "You don't understand," he said quickly. "If you sit there, you break the rule, and once the rule is broken, there is no turning back." Her lips curved into a faint smile. "Then I will break it," she replied. Her voice carried a calm certainty. It was not arrogance, it was resolve. She was ready to pay the price of curiosity, even if it meant her fate would change forever. The humans around her held their breath. They had seen many brave people stop at the edge, but this alien woman was different. She did not hesitate, she did not tremble. Her courage carried her forward like a flame that refused to die. The chair glowed brighter as she placed both hands on its arms. The energy rushed up through her body, stronger than before. Her vision flickered with bursts of light and shadow. She saw images again, human battles, human victories, human losses. The sound of their voices echoed in her head. Whispers of courage, screams of defiance, chants of survival. It felt as if the spirit of humanity was trying to climb into her soul. Her knees bent slowly. The humans gasped as she lowered herself onto the seat. The metal was cold at first, then warm, then alive. It wrapped around her like invisible arms. The glow surged, lighting the whole hall in golden waves. The silence of the humans broke into shocked murmurs. Some stepped back, shielding their eyes. Others leaned forward, desperate to see what would happen. The officer whispered under his breath, "She has broken the rule," but his voice was not filled with anger. It was filled with awe, for he knew very few had ever dared to do what she had just done. The alien woman closed her eyes. At once, the chair pulled her mind into a storm. She felt herself falling through memories that were not hers. Stars exploded, ships burned, soldiers shouted. She saw humans standing in front of giants. She saw them rise again and again, even when all hope was gone. Her chest tightened as she felt their pain, their struggle, their endless courage. Her own fear tried to fight back. Her mind whispered that she should rise, that she should escape. But the chair held her firmly. It was not cruel, but it was absolute. It demanded that she face the truth. Not just the truth of humans, but the truth of herself. Her silver eyes snapped open, glowing faintly now. She looked around and saw the humans staring at her. But she also saw more. Behind their faces, she saw their spirit. She saw the fire that lived inside each of them. It was the same fire that burned in the chair. It was the same fire now burning inside her. She realized in that moment what made humans different. It was not their weapons, not their machines, not their numbers. It was their will, their unbreakable will to fight, to rise, to never bow. The chair had given her a piece of that will. It had chosen her because she dared, because she broke the rule. Her voice came out low but steady. "So this is what you guard," she said. Her words echoed across the hall. The humans shifted uneasily. Some bowed their heads. Others straightened with pride. The officer looked at her with eyes full of respect. "You should not have sat there," he said. "But now you know," she breathed deeply, her chest rising with power she had never felt before. The chair hummed beneath her, no longer strange but familiar. It had accepted her, and in return, she had accepted it. Her fear was gone now. Burned away by the fire of courage, she had broken the rule, and in doing so, she had crossed the line between outsider and witness. She was no longer just a curious alien. She was part of their story now. The hall was silent once again. All eyes remained on her as she sat in the forbidden chair. And though no one spoke, everyone understood the same truth. The rule had been broken, and nothing would ever be the same again. The alien woman sat fully in the forbidden chair. Her body trembled as waves of energy pulsed through her veins. Her silver eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the golden light spreading across the hall. The humans stood frozen, their faces caught between fear and awe. The air smelled sharp like ozone after lightning. It felt as if the station itself had stopped breathing. The officer stepped closer, his voice hushed but urgent. "You should not have done this," he said. His words were heavy, not with anger, but with knowledge. The alien woman turned her glowing eyes to him. "Why?" she asked simply. Her voice was calm, though her body shook from the power flowing inside her. The officer looked at the glowing chair, then back at her. "Because now you will know," he said. His eyes burned with the weight of secrets. The alien woman leaned forward slightly, her hands gripping the cold arms of the chair. "Then tell me," she demanded. "Tell me what this seat is. Tell me why you guard it. Tell me why humans fear it yet keep it." The officer hesitated. His lips pressed together. The other humans exchanged glances. Some nodding, some frowning. It was clear they were divided. Some wanted to keep the secret hidden. Others seemed ready for it to be revealed. At last, the officer let out a long breath. "You have forced our hand," he said slowly. "You broke the rule and the chair has accepted you. So you deserve the truth." The alien woman's heart pounded. The hall felt smaller now, every human eye fixed on her. The officer's voice dropped low, carrying across the silence. "That chair is not a weapon, not a tool, not even a machine in the way you think." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. "It is a test," the alien woman frowned, her silver brows knitting. "A test?" she repeated softly. "Yes," the officer said. "A test of courage, of intent, of will." His eyes gleamed in the glow of the chair. It was built long ago, by humans who believed that true strength was not in muscle or steel, but in spirit. Her breath caught as she listened. She had seen glimpses of battles, flashes of human history. The chair had shown her those visions when she touched it. Now his words began to make sense. "It chooses?" she asked. The officer nodded. "It chooses the brave," he said firmly. "Only those who face it without fear, who sit knowing the risk, can survive its touch." Her chest tightened with awe. The humans had created something not to destroy but to measure. Something that separated the weak from the strong. Something that revealed who was worthy. And now it had accepted her, an outsider. She looked at her glowing hands and whispered, "Then it has chosen me." The officer's jaw tightened. "Yes," he admitted reluctantly. "You are chosen, though you are not one of us." Some humans in the crowd stirred at his words. Their eyes flashed with unease as if they did not want an alien to share their secret. But others looked at her with a strange respect, as though they had just witnessed history unfold. The alien woman sat straighter in the chair. Her voice was quiet but firm. "What does it reveal?" she asked. "What truth does it show?" The officer hesitated again, then answered, "It shows who we are inside." His voice carried both pride and sorrow. "It reveals courage, but it also reveals weakness. It shows what a person truly is when stripped of lies." Her silver eyes widened. No wonder the humans avoided it. To sit in this chair was not just to prove courage, but to face yourself, to see your own soul reflected back. That was a danger greater than death. The alien woman felt her breath tremble. She had broken the rule, and now she could not escape the truth. The chair pulsed again, light spreading across her body. She saw more visions, clearer now. Humans standing on burning worlds, refusing to bow. Soldiers holding the line, though death was certain. Mothers shielding children with bare hands. Explorers walking into the void with nothing but hope. She gasped, gripping the arms tighter. This was the truth the humans carried. This was the spirit hidden inside their kind. Tears welled in her eyes. She was not human, yet the chair allowed her to feel their will. She finally understood why humans rose again and again. Why they never stayed broken. Why they were feared and respected across the stars. It was not their weapons, it was not their numbers. It was their spirit, unshakable and unending. The officer knelt before her now, his eyes locked onto hers. "You see it now," he said softly. "That is our secret. That is what we guard, not the chair itself. But what it represents," the alien woman nodded slowly, her chest heavy with emotion. "Yes," she whispered. "I see." The glow of the chair began to fade. Her body still trembled, but her heart was stronger. The humans around her looked at her differently now. No longer just an outsider, no longer only a visitor. She had been chosen by their test, she had seen their secret and survived. And though she sat in silence, one thought burned inside her mind. She had come seeking curiosity, but she had found something far greater. She had found the unbreakable will of humanity, and she knew deep inside that nothing in her life would ever be the same again. The alien woman sat in the forbidden chair. The glow had dimmed, but the energy inside her had not faded. It moved through her body like fire and light. Her silver eyes shone brighter than ever, reflecting not only who she was but what she had seen. She had touched the truth of humanity, and now that truth was changing her. Her hands trembled as she raised them. The faint shimmer of golden light still danced across her fingertips. She could feel her heartbeat no longer alone. It was in rhythm with something greater, a steady drum that did not belong to her alone. It was as if the will of humanity had reached inside her and made a home. The humans around her watched in silence. Some stepped back in awe. Others leaned forward, desperate to see more. Whispers rose like wind. She survived. She survived. Never before had an alien been accepted. Never before had one of another kind shared the secret of the seat. Yet here she was, glowing with their fire. The officer knelt near her side. He spoke carefully, his voice steady but heavy with meaning. "The chair has marked you," he said. "You will never be the same again." His words carried no threat, only truth. The alien woman nodded slowly, her breath unsteady. "I feel it," she whispered. "It is inside me now." Her mind swirled with the visions she had seen. The courage of humans, their pain, their endless will to rise. But she also felt something else, something new. It was not just their memories she carried, but their strength. Her fear, once sharp and heavy, had melted away. In its place stood a strange calm, the kind only born of certainty. She rose from the chair slowly. The humans gasped as the glow followed her. It clung to her skin, wrapping her in a faint aura of gold. Her tall figure looked less alien and more like a bridge between two worlds. She felt taller, stronger, not in body but in spirit. Her silver eyes burned brighter, and when she spoke, her voice carried weight. "Now I understand you," she said to the humans. Her words rolled across the hall like a soft wave. "You are not strong because you never fall. You are strong because you always rise." The officer's eyes widened. Her words were simple, yet they cut to the heart of his people. It was the truth they lived, the truth they never explained, but she had seen it. One human soldier stepped forward, his voice trembling. "She speaks as if she were one of us," he said. Another replied softly, "Perhaps she is now." The murmur spread through the crowd, not of fear but of wonder. They had guarded the chair for generations, and now for the first time an outsider had passed the test. The alien woman placed a hand over her chest, her heart beat steady, no longer her own. She could feel the fire inside, not a flame of destruction, but a flame of courage. It warmed her thoughts. It sharpened her spirit. It made her see the world differently. She whispered to herself, "So this is why humans never bow." Her transformation was not only inside her mind, it showed in her stance, her eyes, her voice. She felt no hesitation, no doubt, no fear. The questions that had once burned in her heart were no longer questions. They were answers carved in fire. The humans had given her no weapon, no gift. Yet she had gained something priceless. She had gained the unbreakable will of humanity. The officer stood and looked at her with respect. "You carry it now," he said softly. "The weight, the fire, the curse and the blessing." She turned her glowing eyes to him. "Then I will carry it proudly," she replied. Her voice rang with calm strength, for she understood what it meant to be chosen. It was not about power. It was about responsibility. She looked once more at the chair. It was silent now, dark, as if resting. It had given what it wished to give. It had shown her the truth, and she had accepted it. But she also knew one thing with certainty. Once you sat, once you were chosen, you could never return to who you were before. The humans seemed to sense this too. They no longer looked at her as an outsider. Their eyes carried a mix of awe and quiet acceptance. She was alien, but she was also something more. She was a mirror of them now, touched by their secret flame. Her transformation was complete. The fear that once defined her steps was gone. In its place was strength, quiet but unshakable. She had become a part of their story, and as she stood among them, her golden glow fading into a steady warmth, she knew her path was tied to theirs forever.